Okay, this is for the Orthodox King, for being a loyal viewer. Let me see if I can pull up what he had said. Christianity is contradictory, unlike the Quran. That's the title that I went with. A bit of sarcasm. He said, scholars have discovered over 1,000 mistakes in the Quran, plus a plethora of mathematical and scientific errors as well. The Quran, the most perfect holy book. Yeah, right. Peace to you. Well, the Quran has abrogation in it, right? And I agree with certain things in the Quran. Like when it says that the Torah and the Injil will never be changed, and that the Christians and the Jews only change them with their tongues, kind of like what we would say about the Pentateuch. They change it with their tongues, their oral tradition, which is the Talmud. They never tampered with it. But here are some things, because people try to say Jesus is a myth, was a myth, right? But Muhammad we know a lot about. Well, Jesus, the stuff we know about him was written between, most of it was written between 14 and 30 years after his death. Some of it was written between 30 and 50 years after his death, and then there was very few pieces in the New Testament where the most skeptical scholars will put it at the early 1st century, so 105 to 120, and that would be things like the Book of Jude, 2nd Peter, which are anti-legomena, right? But works of Paul, the Gospels, are homilegomena, and they're within 30 years. And all of the flora and fauna match in every book of the Bible. They all completely match. They're not like the Book of Mormon where, Joseph Smith talks about pre-Columbian America having sheep and goats and horses and cattle and wheat and barley and rye and things that, wouldn't appear until after Columbus, after Cortez and Jamestown and Roanoke and Plymouth. So here are just a few things. Muhammad is a title, means the praised one or praised be, and it was a title used by the Christians for Jesus, by the Jews for Moses, and by a group of Rahmanites who called God Al-Rahman for their God. Praised one, the one worthy of praise. Some people say it means praised be. I'm not too sure about that. But what do we know about Muhammad? Or actually Abu al-Qasim? Well, we can look at the Quran, right? And we can know exactly where it takes place. And it doesn't take place in Mecca, the city that didn't exist at the time of that Abu al-Qasim lived. And the flora and fauna don't match up because it talks about trade route, but it also talks about people tending to their vineyards, to their olive trees, to the fig trees, to the cattlemen that were around, and that there was a healthy blend of Christian, Jewish, and pagan there. And it gives us one marker. It says, day and night you walk past the Dead Sea. Do you not remember Lot? Does Lot not come to your mind and you still sin? And he's talking to the people of the town. The Meccan and Median surahs would get their titles later on. just as Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim would be added on to all the surahs. So what do we know about Abu al-Qasim, also known as Qatham? Well, we know that the first autobiography, or the first biography of Muhammad, was written by a man named Ibn Ishaq. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say he wrote it in AD 750. Now, Islam supposedly began in 622, and Muhammad died 10 years after that. Alright. So we have over 200 years silence. But we don't have Ibn Ishaq's Sirat Rasulullah, the biography. We have the recension by Ibn Hisham, who did his recension in 835. It's almost 100 years after Ishaq, and 300 years after death of Muhammad. And that's the first reliable biography of Muhammad. The most reliable sayings next to the Quran. This is like how the Jews interpret the Torah with the Talmud. You can't make heads or tails of the Quran unless you have either, let's say, this book, which has the Torah and the Injil in it, and extra stories, and the prophets, or you make up a bunch of stuff. It's called a Hadith, or a Hadith, things that it happened. People seen the prophet do this. Unfortunately, the single man who was given this task, who lived in Damascus but spent most of his life in Uzbekistan, was Bukhari, al-Bukhari, who is responsible for Sahih al-Bukhari, the most trusted collection of hadith in the world, in the Sunni world. Now, he took 700,000 hadith, but let's say it was just over 600,000 hadith. And he, and only him, not a committee, whittled it down to 7,397. Many of those were duplicates. So of original hadiths, or ahadith, we have 2,602. And he did this in 850. Well over 300 years after the death of the man that they remember as Muhammad. And still, within Sahih al-Bukhari, there is massive contradiction. In fact, there's things that Muhammad Abu al-Qasim does that directly contradicts the Quran. In fact, it actually tells a story about how Abu Bakr recited some things, and it was so beautiful it went into the Quran. Was he a Jewish agent that came in and intentionally screwed it up? Or is pissed off Zoroastrian? Maybe. Why do all the early Islamic coins have images of men and crosses on them? If the images of man or animal are forbidden, especially the cross, No, the most evil book in the world is not the Quran. The most evil set of books is Sahih al-Bukhari, and it's chock full of lies, unverifiable either. This is what an isnad chain is. You ever play telephone where somebody whispers something in so and so's ear, and that person witnesses it, says it in somebody else's ear, and by the time it gets around the classroom, it's completely different. So and so told so and so, who 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 told so and so, for 300 years until he told me, and that's how it's reliable. And if there was not a reliable person in that chain of people, of reliable, thought to be reliable person, then it was out. What did you need to, if you wanted to forge your own hadith? Well, you could do that, but you had to take, say, oh, look, that isnad chain is perfect. Let's take that and put it on here. So instead of being restricted to 4 wives like the Quran says, Muhammad had between 9 and 13. Yeah, and the Quran keeps telling the Christian, the Jew, before you read this, go back and read your holy scriptures. And it says that not that this would not never become corrupted, but that the Torah and the Injil, the Torah and the Gospels, would never become corrupted. How do you like that map? Well, spring that on. Muslims, they try to debate you about things. Oh, yeah, the flora and fauna. Yeah, I need to mention this again. Only matches Palestine. Does not match Saudi Arabia, especially a city that's like 30 miles from the coast of the Red Sea. And Medina is Yathrib, but there's no names given in here. And a lot Manat and Al-Uzza were worshipped in places like Hira and Haran, and where the Talmud was being crafted was Surah. Check out the name for cave, and then check out the name for Hira and Haran. I believe that Abu al-Qasim, known as Muhammad, traveled from southern portions of Palestine to Edessa and to Mesopotamia and through these cities that I mentioned, especially places like Abdat and Jerusalem. Alright, peace to you.